Welcome to New Mexico Black Rifle Operators Union. I'm your host, Sean. Man, every time I think we're getting progress or somewhere in the 2A world, you end up getting smacked back to reality, or I do. I think that it's blaringly obvious now that we have a two-tier justice system. If you had not heard, Biden's son, what the hell is his name? Hunter Biden. There we go. I had to think. It's not Bo. Bo's the one that died. Anyway, Hunter got off scot-free, basically. And if you don't know the case that I'm talking about, Hunter had bought a pistol illegally because he was on drugs. And according to the Form 4473, you can't be on an illicit drug and purchase a firearm legally. So he was on drugs. He was an admitted crack addict. He'd done a lot of bad things. In this case specifically, he copped a plea for the gun charge and is going to basically do parole, I think, for tax evasion. So if you're looking at things like I am, it looks like if you're a member of the American Soloneki, if you don't know what the Soloneki is, look them up. In Russia, there's a group of oligarchs that Putin has installed in every cabinet and every position of power in Russia, and they're called the Soloneki. And there's about 130, maybe 150 of them that rule Russia. And, it isn't a very short leap to think that we're in that same place in the United States. If it was you or I that had done any of these crimes, we would be languishing in jail right now. It goes back to what I've said multiple times this week about it's time to simply peacefully protest and not comply. You're going to be facing some time if you get caught for anything, if you're doing something illicit. But the simple fact is, it's better to face that than to come clean at any time, because you're not going to get justice. Justice in the United States is supposed to be blind, but it looks like if you're rich or you're a member of the American Soloneki, you can get away with whatever you want. The crimes that these people are perpetrating. Hunter, his laptop really is real. And it's been proven multiple times, so much so that the FBI has even had to come forward and say that it's legitimate. CNN has even said that it's legitimate. There's still a lot of people that don't believe it's legitimate, but it's the real deal. If we had on that laptop, that's where I was going with that. He actually was messing around with kids and hookers and driving stoned and all kinds of other things and showing it on video. Now, how is it that he's able to get away with this? The only way that makes sense is that if you're one of the rich or the privileged in the United States, you are of a protected class, that the rules don't apply to you. We're in a two-tier justice system now. You look at what's happened with Biden and what everybody has known, that he is the big guy on the laptop emails from Hunter. And that he actually did accept bribes from Ukraine or from a Ukrainian energy company, and nothing's getting done there. The question I have is, either political party, where are the people of principle? If I was a member of the Democratic Party right now, you could make a hell of a headwind and put yourself in a better position by coming out against these guys. But you won't. And the reason why you won't is because you feel safe and you're taken care of right now. The same thing goes for the Republican Party. The Republican Party, you have a few people that are trying to do things that won't get anywhere because they have no real political power. They barely have one house of Congress. So how are they supposed to get anything done? This is by design. If you look at when Trump was president, he had the House, he had the Senate, nothing was passed that would have given back freedoms. In fact, he was the only one that ever did get gun control done in one way or another until Biden. Biden's used the same footprints and the same fingerprints that Trump used to try to go after pistol braces. Now, the pistol brace thing, Biden came out yesterday and was talking about how they convert a gun into a higher caliber rifle or a higher caliber gun, and that's not possible. We all know this. But no one's calling out the lies. Mainstream media is fine just letting things keep going. You're seeing people cheer that Hunter got off scot-free. Where are that American character people? Those people that have character, have some scruples in the world, in the United States. There's a lot of people that are being very silent right now when they should be raising a hell of a lot more noise and making more noise around what's going on. It's disheartening to see a rich kid basically get off of something that would put us behind jail for at least 10 to 20 years. Any of us. If we took a handgun and destroyed it or threw it in a trash bin by a school, that would get a police response, and we'd probably be facing some hard time. So where are we in the United States? I talked about this last night or this morning on the podcast about where are we at? What are we going to do about it? How do we fix it? You can protest all you want, and basically all you're doing is getting on a list nowadays. However, if you're just simply not complying and doing your own life, how are they going to get you? There is that case in Montana where they took the 4473s. There is a case that you could see the IRS handing those over to the ATF, and the ATF would use that as a basis for trying to go after people with the pistol brace stuff. Because if you just bought a lower receiver, an AR-15 lower receiver, a stripped one, they can make that assumption and come to your house, get a warrant and come to your house and search for it and see if there's one of these braces. Brandon Herrera did a cool video today about the compliance issue around what people have done for compliance with the pistol brace. And his numbers are a little wilder than what I remember, or in my research I found. He's saying 0.06 if there were 40 million pistol braces sold, and up to 6% or up to 6% or up to 8% if it was around the 10 million mark. And I disagree. I wholeheartedly disagree. There's a whole hell of a lot of us. I'm not one of those people, but there's a whole hell of a lot of us in our community, in the Second Amendment community, that just decided to tell the government to pound sand, that they went too far. And it's up to them to try to go get those devices now. They want to make them an NFA-regulated item, even though it's a piece of plastic and can be bought for around $25 when you could get them. So what do? I keep asking myself, we keep having shoe after shoe dropping at the federal level that kind of puts it like we're going to win, at least in court. But even a win in court nowadays doesn't seem like it's going to fix this, because the root of the problem is at the heart of the issue. The heart of our government is corroded and rotten. The tree of liberty is rotting and decaying, and the reason why that is because too many people have checked out. The elections don't garner as much participation as they should. That said, I'm not so sure that voting in elections actually matters anymore, because it doesn't seem to change the progress in favor of freedom. I mentioned that we had Trump in for 4 years. Where was the Hearing Protection Act? I know his son's a big fan of that. His son is a hunter and does a lot of interesting things. But how was it that the bump stock ban came about under Trump? That shouldn't have even been a thing because he was supposed to be in our camp as a Second Amendment camp. Now he's got to come back and prove that he can win, one, and he's got to court people like me because I'm still not sure that I would vote for Trump again unless he starts firing people in Washington. That's something I could stand behind. You know, I'm looking at candidates like Vivek Ramaswamy right now because at least he has some sort of economic idea of what the hell we're facing and what the hell we need to do. Where are the other candidates that are joining? You know, there's a ton of Republicans in the field right now. Where are the Libertarians? You know, Dave Smith is one that I would actually like to hear from because he's, I believe he's going to run for president with Maj Toure as his vice president for the Mises Caucus. And I kind of have to admit that after seeing stuff like today, that the Mises Caucus starts to make more sense to me. Because maybe we do need something totally outside of the two-party system. And I think we actually, I don't think we need it. We need it. We've needed it for a long time. And there's now a group of boomers and people that are seeing just how corrupt the system is, that these people seem to keep getting away with the crap that they are. You know, any one of us, like I say, I keep saying this, I keep ruminating about this, any one of us, if we'd done any of this, you know, they have 87,000 IRS agents now that are supposed to be coming after people that use payment apps so that they can collect taxes from them. They've weaponized the IRS to go after the guy in Montana that was just running his gun store. They're trying to set examples to scare people. And we need to hold the line and say, we're not scared. Come get us. You know, come and take it, so to speak. That is a big thing in the 2A world. It's time to stand behind it. Because there's simply not enough of them to come to every household. And if there's enough people that say no and raise enough of a stink, they won't make it. So after today, that's what I'm seeing. You know, I think his last name is O'Keefe. He was the one that was in charge of or started Project Veritas. He just released about 20 minutes ago a story about BlackRock recruiters saying that it's very easy to buy politicians. Duh. How do you influence policy to get your way? You buy them. Well, how do us that are just normal working guys buy politicians? The whole point of this was to make sure we didn't have to buy politicians, that politicians were supposed to work for us. That's no longer the case. You know, it makes me even wonder the local level. Are we still in charge of that? And it looks to me like we still are because at least you're seeing policies locally that seem to make sense. At least I do where I live. You know, I live in northwest New Mexico, and I can say that my mayor, my sheriff, they're doing what they can for being politicians. They have to contend with Santa Fe and the governor's whims if they're going to keep any of their funding. But at the national level, I'm not seeing it. You know, all the cases that I'm positive we're going to win, what's the point of winning if they keep finding ways around the system? How are we in this place where Hunter Biden is going to be a free man after something this heinous? I guess it pays to be rich. Like, share, subscribe, be great.
In the top, I can't let it slide. My politics are rather controversial. Who would have thought that I ain't catching all slack and I have enemies on